everybody, it's Cass and Court TV. It's your girl, Miss Public Info, with the latest and greatest and sometimes hated updates on your most interesting high profile cases going on around the country. First, let's talk about the Diddy sentencing. Now, it's a very confusing situation with the Diddy sentencing that happened just a few days ago on the 8th. Basically, I read you guys the note that the defense had brought forth file in the courts. They wanted the September 22nd, date. They wanted to expedite it. That's what the whole hearing was about. The whole hearing was about the fact that it was going to be expedited, right? Well, so they go there, they get the agreement with the prosecution. The prosecution says, okay, yep, we agree. They talk to the Department of Probation because, they have to, streamline everything. The Department of Probation has to be in agreement, yada, 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 yada. I talked to you guys about this already. So everything happens. After the hearing, like way after, sometime later on that day, we find out that the defense actually abandons the expedited sentencing request, and they actually went to Judge Submaranian via writing, who never took the bench, by the way, and sent his deputy in to say, hey, he will respond to your request in writing. But they responded to Judge Submaranian before he could even make his decision and said, hey, we'll actually continue on with the October 3rd date. No problem. Now, I have a few theories why this could have happened. Nobody really knows why they abandoned it. But, at least for now, this is the end of it. He's not going to get an expedited sentencing date. He's staying put. He's staying quiet. Whatever. But nobody knows how Combs feels about it or anything like that. He hasn't spoken to the press. Obviously, people know that. He was present via teleconference from the men's holding federal facility there in Brooklyn. He did attend via teleconference. But other than that, he's not said anything, and I guess they just collectively as a defense team just decided that the 10/3 date is fine. Now, for those conspiracy theorists out there who believe that there is a superseding indictment coming, some people who feel that way might say, hey, well, this is the reason why they abandoned it, because they know something is coming down the pipe. Now, I want to be clear. The Cass and Court TV, we really stick with the facts. We stick with whatever the docket says, whatever has been presented in the trial court phase, whatever's been presented in open court. So we don't do the whole conspiracy theory situation. Some people feel like, hey, there's a lie here to say that there could be a superseding indictment, as they collected a lot of evidence during this time when they went to his properties last year on the search warrant. Now, I will have to have a legal guest on to actually expound on that a little more, on that theory, because I'm not quite sure they can actually utilize any of the seized evidence or any of the evidence from that particular search warrant for a new indictment. And the reason why I don't think this is possible is because how search warrants work is that when a search warrant is enacted, we have to have a judge's signature, right? And the search warrant says why the people are searching, or why the authorities are searching for this particular property or this particular, whatever it might be. We even conduct search warrants for DNA swabbing as well. So the search warrant is very specific as to why we are utilizing the search warrant. We needed to create a probable cause affidavit, meaning an arrest affidavit. So I'm not quite sure they can utilize any of their findings in this particular search warrant activity that they did for this case last year. I'm not sure. I don't know that they can just say, oh, well, we found we didn't win on that, so we found such and such during the search and seizure, so we're just gonna use that to create a new indictment. Because obviously, if the purposes for the original search warrant was to investigate sex trafficking, the RICO, and the prostitution counts, then they can't very well utilize those items or whatever they found to indict him on similar charges because that would be double jeopardy. So they wouldn't be able to do that. And again, I'm not quite sure that they can use the search warrant in a different case to enact and indict in an additional case. I'm not sure that's allowed. But I will check on that with a legal expert, and I will get back to you guys on that, I promise. Now, on to Kanye West. Now, Kanye West is out here wilding out, y'all. Now, listen, a lot of us knew that when he came to the Diddy trial that something was amiss, right? Kanye West is known for being very sort of self-preservation. He's also known for to have called Diddy a fed in the past. So these two being friends was really strange. That he would, oh, my brother, I'm here to have your back. Well, it seems like he may have been there to have his back because he knew that there was a lawsuit looming on him that was very similar to the case that Diddy was up on trial charges for. Now, as you recall, when this situation happened, Kanye West said, well, Diddy is me. We both lay hands on women. I mean, it's a disgusting comment, but that is what he said. And then he shows up to trial. Matter of fact, Kanye West, outside of Diddy's childhood friend, Charlucci, he is the only actual celebrity outside, or just person outside of Diddy's family that actually showed up to have his back during this trial court phase. And now we may be seeing why he did that. There could have been a calculated reason for that because he's possibly about to go through the same thing. Laura Pisciotta, who is the former executive assistant of Kanye West, who worked for him 2021 through 2023 and was unceremoniously let go, she has filed a new and second amended lawsuit against Mr. West, claiming sexual battery, sex trafficking, and many other terrible allegations, stalking, false imprisonment, and more. What she says is that now let's talk about the original. The original lawsuit that she filed back in 2024 says that Mr. West would talk to her about her private areas, that he would harass her, and she said that he terminated her because she would not basically bend to his will. She goes on to say that listen, this is unfair termination. Kanye West actually did an infamous interview with Rolling Stone, and his people on his behalf commented and said, that she was being terminated for being unqualified. That had nothing to do with, her rebuffing his advances or anything like that. That she also demanded an incredibly ridiculous salary, the sum of $4 million for her work there, and said that she there were numerous documented incidents of lascivious, unhinged conduct. And they even denied the baseless allegations of Miss Pisciotta, saying that she was trying to blackmail him and that she was trying to extort monies out of Kanye West. Now, we didn't hear anything about that after that kind of went away. But Miss Chioda is back. She is back, and she is back and badder than ever before. Okay? Now, she is pulling out some very rough allegations out of her coffers and saying, hold up, partner. Hold up. And a business trip that we took together in San Francisco for the Donda West program that you had going on for the kids, you busted into my hotel room, demanding to take a shower in my hotel room, threw me on the bed, and proceeded to put your male member in my mouth. What? Come again? Yes. He busted into the woman's hotel room, according to Miss Pisciotta's lawsuit that she filed just yesterday. Busted into the woman's hotel room, told her he needed to take a shower. When he got into the hotel room, he put her on the bed, and put his male member in her mouth. She's fighting him off, and she says she's frozen in shock, but she rebuffed him. She was like, and he immediately, well, not immediately, but he eventually got up and got himself together and apologized for his actions and stormed out of the room. This is I'm going to tell you something. I'm not the one to say what I would have done or what I should have done or what she should have done or whatever, but the police should have been called. That is sexual battery, and as a matter of fact, it's also a form of rape. This is terrible. The other allegation, which is the big sex trafficking allegation, is that she's making is that Mr. West actually attempted to gift her. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, gift, GIFT, gift her to other men because he wanted to have relations with another man's wife, partner, etc. And so then in exchange, he gifted Miss Pisciotta to that man. Now, Kanye West, if you and your wife have an agreement to do this swinging lifestyle and you want to gift your wife onto another man for his partner, that's your business. But sir, you are not allowed to gift some poor executive assistant, whether she's poor little girl or not, but you are not allowed to gift other women who are not in agreement to other men. That's called human trafficking. That's what it's called. All day long, know that about it. And this goes back to what I was telling you guys about the Diddy trial. Human trafficking is not always snatching some girl off the street and saying, go make $5, $10, $15, $20 for me. No, human trafficking is exactly what this woman described. That is human trafficking. Now, this is just like really crazy, and I am just beside myself that this, even went down. But it is what it is, right? Because this is what we've seen, the unraveling of Kanye West for quite some time now. She also says in this lawsuit, guys, I'm reading that she tried to rebuff him, but he kissed her on the mouth. This is also happening during this San Francisco business trip she's talking about, that he kissed her on the mouth and asked questions about what her private areas was like, and that he continued to make various and numerous advances towards her, and she just tried to fend him off. She tried to, tell him to go on about his business. You know what I mean? And I think this is just crazy. She says that he pleasured himself and touched her private parts during a writing session during the same time before falling asleep mid-sentence as he was talking to her. Just the total disrespect. That's sexual harassment right there. But just total disrespect, disgusting behavior that he was demonstrating, like, and just not even business behavior whatsoever. Like, this is crazy. And then she says that after all of this went down, that she was just that he is notorious for gifting other women as sexual gifts to men. People say that he's known for doing this. And it's also important to note, TMZ is USA Today and TMZ are my sources. It's also important to note that in the first amended complaint filed back in May of 2024, Pisciotta accused Kanye of drugging her at a studio session co-hosted by none other than Sean Diddy Combs. Okay, so that's the news there. I just think it is just incredibly crazy and sad. Now, you could be wondering, well, what's going to happen? Well, something very similar to what happened to Diddy could happen. As you recall, it's kind of unclear about the origin story of how Diddy actually got on the radar of the federal government in this particular case. Although, a lot of people have their own speculations about it. I certainly have mine. Part of that is I don't think it's a far-fetched that the feds had been looking at Sean Combs for a long time. And that, the Little Rod lawsuit and the Cassie lawsuit sort of, sped up the wheels process. Obviously, there's a whole big conspiracy theory coming out now because of the trial results that this is all a result of an Epstein cover-up sort of situation. And the Epstein lists, client lists, that were supposed to be released by the government, that basically, this is the reason why Diddy did not get, he didn't get convicted, because basically, he had a connection to the Epstein trial, or the Epstein case. Miss Comey was on the Epstein case. She's on this case. Essentially, the government or someone high up out there. This is the speculation and the conspiracy that they wanted those tapes, and that this whole trial was put together because of that. Well, I am gonna say that's probably not true. And the reason why I'm gonna say that is because I don't see the government wasting this kind of resources on a trial that they never had any, you know, any intention on winning. I believe the government put on this trial to get him. I do. To convict him. They just lost. They lost. They didn't put on a good case. It doesn't mean that Sean Combs is innocent. It means that he was acquitted. We have to remember what acquittal means. It means that the person is acquitted, essentially meaning that the prosecution, the government, could not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed the crimes that they charged him with. That's essentially what it means. So I personally don't believe in this Epstein conspiracy theory. The Epstein case itself and what was going on and what the government just released and what we didn't see, and just Lean Maxwell and all that's a separate note that I might talk about. But in terms as it relates to Sean Combs, I don't believe that they put that case on with no intention on winning. I think they had every intention on winning. I think they wanted to win. I think they look crazy now, and I think that there's a possibility that, yeah, could they be trying to find ways to stick something else on? Possibly. I told you guys, once the government gets you in their web and in their realm, they never let you go. So they're gonna be watching him, and they could be digging around for other things. That's very true. But what I said earlier about the superseding indictment, I'm just saying that the evidence, them indicting him, or them writing up a superseding indictment based on the evidence that they collected for this last trial, that may not be allowed. But they could be out there looking for additional witnesses, additional evidence, and all of that to write up this superseding indictment that people seem to think that could be happening. And it could be, you never know. But as it relates to Kanye West, the next steps is that the same thing that happened to Diddy could happen to him. As it relates to, we have this civil claim here. This civil claim is actually entails or includes some very criminal information. Absolutely it does. Okay. And if they find people that can corroborate this, and if the feds care enough, and they find, especially if there's a connection to Diddy in some kind of way, like this, listening session drugging that she's alleging, yeah, this could end up being his version of the spark of Little Rod's lawsuit that sparked the Diddy case. This could very well be that for Kanye West. So I think we're all gonna have to wait and see. I think it's crazy that he has this going on. Like, what is happening? But Kanye West hasn't been right for a long time. I'm not gonna blame this on his mother's death. I'm going to say that Kanye West has his own things going on. And again, we have to remember, let me roll it back to the Diddy trial. All of this is very important to mention, because the Kanye West Diddy connection is real. Now that's what people are not that's what people are not connecting the tissue to, and that's what y'all need to be paying attention to. The Kanye Diddy connection, especially as it relates to the law. So during trial, what did we hear? We heard that, Daphne Joy went to some live sex party, and that there was a rapper there, and his wife was there, and the rapper said some very inappropriate things to her. Well, she didn't characterize it as being inappropriate. I'm characterizing it as being inappropriate, about wanting to have sex with her. He didn't say it like that, about always wanting to have sex with her. And he certainly did not say it like that. Asking her for recommendations, and, her giving him the number of Cabral, and her watching Anton involve himself in this, live sexual situation, or sex that he was having with someone, with everybody in the room, drinking, laughing, having a good time. Her, bearing her breast and shaking it around the room, trying to get attention and doing all of this. Now, this is exactly what is sort of Kanye's sort of world here. Like the girl, the Miss Pisciotta talked about how he would gift, women to other men and all of that. Well, we saw that he's in the swinger lifestyle. He talks to Daphne Joy about the swinger lifestyle. He's there in Vegas with his wife at this obvious swinger party or wherever they are. And so I think that there's a lot of connective tissue there. There's a lot of connectiveness there. And if there's enough, we're already hearing that he allegedly drugged this girl at a Diddy listening session. So what is happening? So I think we need to stay tuned for that. It's very possible that Kanye West could end up being in the same shoes as Diddy, and it could also, answer and beg the question of why Kanye West was so concerned, why he was making comments like me and Diddy are the same person, why he was doing the jail calls with Diddy and I'll look after your kids and all this, that, and the third, because maybe he knew his day was coming, and certainly he knew this lawsuit was looming. And so, we're just gonna have to wait and see. It's a really crazy time. These sex trafficking and sex harassment, battery allegations for various people will continue to come through, I think, because a lot of people are talking. But the outcome of the Diddy case, I think, also sort of told people they need to beg back a little bit, that some people have too much money and are too powerful and they won't get any punishment for it. But outside of that, I think that this connection with Diddy and Kanye West and this swinger thing and this sex trafficking allegations, all of this is very interesting. And where there is smoke, there is fire, my friends. Okay, guys, that's going to be it for this episode. We'll talk to you soon. This has been Casting Court TV with your girl, Miss Public Info. Appreciate you and stay safe out there.